Drinks are on my mind. The decision sets in. One that will churn your skin. The love is right. Let them have their time. And I have this notion. Let's keep these wheels in motion.
Good evening, race fans. How the bloody hell are we? It is Saturday night, and Saturday night means one thing and one thing only. It's the GT Alphas GT3 World Championships 2023. And after weeks of practice and last week's qualifier, we are here, round one at Interlagos in this GT3 World Championship. And it is going to be an absolute doozy of a race. I can tell you now that first on the grid and midway through the grid in lobby 2 are separated by nothing more than a couple of seconds. It's going to be fast and frantic here in lobby 1. I'm Empire, as you know, it's Black Flag Racing TV. This is GT Alphas. We have got the who's who of some of the best drivers on Gran Turismo. Right now in this lobby. We will do a lobby reset very, very quickly. But first, this. We are here in Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil, to be exact, at the wonderful Autodromo dos Interlagos, or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. I can't pronounce foreign languages. Interlagos in Brazil. It is a brilliant racetrack. It is built in 1940. The existing layout has been unchanged since 1999. 2.6 miles, 4.3 kilometres, paved in tarmac. 15 corners, although 5 of those you got your foot to the floor. Not really corners if you're going flat out. But yeah, it's an awesome racetrack. It's got a very quick outside section with a little kind of infield, little twisty bit. Turn 1 is a centre S, tricky right-left combo. That goes into the curve of the sun, which you take flat out, sweeping round the left-hand side as you head down to turns 4 and 5, the Lakes Descent. 2 left-handers, the first you're braking for, third gear, full throttle through the second, heading up to Ferradura, which takes you into the slowest part of the racetrack. Turn 8 is La Regina, or Little Orange, which is a slow right-hander, which takes you to turn 9, which is the slowest corner on the circuit, Little Pine Tree. And you have to just be a little bit patient with the throttle there. Bico de Pato, or the Duck's Bill, second gear right-hander, which takes you down to turn 11. Merugo, which is I pronounced that wrong, left turn, full throttle there, before you get to Juncal, the last braking zone of the track, which takes you then on to the long straight, turns 13, 14, 15, essentially on there, but they are flat out as they take you to the line. That is Interlagos. That's what it looks like. I'm going to do a lobby reset now, which will be quite interesting, and then we'll bring up the grid. So let's get the reset done. That'll be a good start. There we go, so lobby being prepared, and then we'll get the grid sorted out, shall we? This is what the grid looks like. They are the 15 fastest drivers from qualifying last week. Not all of them were in lobby 1 last week, but not a lot separates them. I think between Bonival on pole and Knudsen in 15th is about 9/10 of a second in terms of average race pace in the qualifier. That is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So we just need everyone to tick in so I can set the grid. And then we'll talk about how this is going to work. We've got sprint race first, 20 minutes. That will set the grid for the feature race. It will also set the grid for next week. Interesting format. We'll see how it works out. It could go horribly, horribly wrong. Right, let's get this grid set so we can get cracking on time. So, Bonival will take the pole position. And can Bonival hold on? Hockers, so that's 2 ART drivers on the front row. Front row lockout for ART. Good start for them in the team competition. Then Sector 7 come charging through. It's Endorphin sitting on row 2. If I can find Endorphin here somewhere. There's Endorphin. Endorphin will be sitting on row 2 alongside the Truth, or the Truth. Can you handle the Truth? I don't know if you can handle the Truth. He's not there yet. I'll find him in a minute. He is followed by Nuke, of course, the glorious leader of Sector 7 racing. So that's 4 Sector 7s in the top 5, top 6. 3 Sector 7s in the top 5. So that you'll go there. I'm pretty slow with doing this, aren't I? Then we've got Stormfly sitting behind Nuke from Black Flag. That's the highest ranked Black Flag driver there. Slipstream just behind him. Of course, our glorious livery leader. Then 2 more. Let It Rip from Sector 7. There he is there, just moving him up to where he needs to be. I'm getting there, folks, I'm getting there. And then Madster, also of Sector 7, just behind Let It Rip. Tech Racing sits just behind Let It Rip. No, it doesn't. It's just behind Mazda, even. Where have I put Mazda? Have I put it in the wrong place? I have. It should be there. And behind Tech Racing is Hovercraft. Another sector. Lots of Sector 7 drivers have made it into this top lobby. GMAC from Black Flag, of course, sits there behind Hovercraft. We've got TJ, also Black Flag, squeezes in just behind GMAC. Wiggy, another Black Flag driver there behind TJ, with Knudsen in 15th position. Just got one more to set up, and then we're ready to go. Starting grid. There he is. There's the Truth. Who's going to slot in on that second row? There we go. Done. The grid is set. What can I tell you? It's going to be absolutely frantic. Look at that front 5. 2 ART drivers. 3 Sector 7 drivers. Then we've got 2 Black Flag. 6th and 7th. We've got Sector 7 in 8th and 9th. Tech Racing from Beyond Victory Lane. I think that's his team. In 10th, another Sector 7 in 11th. GMAC from Black Flag is in 12th. 13th is TJ. 14th is Wiggy. 15th is Knudsen. We've got some really quick drivers in Lobby 2 as well, who will be vying for a position here next week. Right, let's get them all readied up. And we'll get cracking with some racing, I think. Looking forward to this. It's going to be an absolute doozy of a race. Right, let's have it, shall we? G-Max always has to be difficult, doesn't he? Right, let's get this race started. Race will begin straight into it. 20 minutes of racing we've got here. Frantic, fast, frenetic. It's going to be an absolute smashing race. I can't believe I've just used that expression like a child. Right, so let's get that off. Let's get that off. Let's get into the correct view. I do need my keyboard as well. Will be quite useful. Let's go back here. I want to make sure there's no issues into turn 1. We don't want issues into turn 1. I want to thank PD for... Oh, we'll do that in a minute. So that's 5 lights and round 1 is underway. Good start out in front. That is a great start. Great start from Slipstream. Diving through the middle into the centre S we go for the first time. How's it looking at the back there? Everyone looks to be pretty safe through there. No shenanigans. Awesome start. Great racing for everyone right from the outset. I'll tell you what I do need to do, because I've done it already. I've already done it. Turn down the engine noise a little bit. Just I want to turn it up a touch because I do like the sound of these engines. Let's get it up there. Right. So Body Val does the charge into the lead. What we're going to do, we're going to have a quick look at what tyres everyone's starting on, because it is a completely free choice. I can't imagine anyone's doing anything other than starting on those soft compound tyres. It is dawn that we started at, so lights will be on, but the light will very quickly return to the room. So Body Val already 1.2 seconds clear in that AMG GT3. His teammate Hocker's just behind there in the McLaren 650S. Awesome little car that is. I've been running that in a manufacturer's cup, and it's brilliant. Holding on at the moment, but he's got Endorphin chasing him down, trying to find a way through. The lead US driver at the moment. Slipstream up to 4th after that phenomenal start in the AMG, gaining a few places right off the bat, also running on the soft compound tyres. Ahead of The Truth from Canada, Sector 7 Racing, as we head down to complete lap number 1. Desperately sitting in that slipstream, trying to make a move into the centre S. It holds the inside line, but round the outside goes The Truth. He can't get that move done. He's leaving himself a little bit vulnerable to Stormfly, but Stormfly not able to get it in. And I've got to say, I absolutely love this livery. I think I might have let out a little bit of juice when I saw this livery. It is absolutely beautiful. We'll have another look again in a minute. There's Nuke running in 7th, also on the soft compound tyre, just ahead of Mazda of that's New Zealand, isn't it, Mazda? Always get them confused. I've got to remember it's less stars on the Kiwi flag. Let It Rip from the United States in that BMW. Holding off at the moment, GMAC, who's running in 10th with the Hello Kitty GTR. TJ running in 11th position in the BMW, ahead of Knudsen, who is a newly crowned... Crown's probably not the right word. A newly crowned member of the Black Flag Racing team. So good to see him running in Black Flag colours. He was an Enola racing driver up until last week, when he defected from the dark side to the way of the Jedi. Tech Racing running there right behind him. Look how close those two GTRs are. Absolutely duking it out as they come out of Zhunkao. And the slipstream here very, very strong. Look at that side-by-side they run. That's the 53 car of Newton running there. And he's got Tech Racing side-by-side as they're heading towards the line here. Into the braking zone and through nice and safely. It's looking good so far. Some great pace already. Hovercraft running in 14th, and Wiggy struggling a little bit at the back at the moment in the BMW, running in 15th place. But already 9 seconds separates the field. But look how close all these cars are. You look at that little mini-map up the top and just how close they are. Other than Bonnie Val, who is absolutely disappearing off up the road. Now, is this a smart strategy? Are they going to be putting a little bit too much pressure on the tyres and fuel this early on in the race? And Let It Rip has disconnected from the sprint race. Will be able to return for the feature, but that is an absolute devastating blow, not only for Let It Rip, but also for Sector 7 team, because he was looking pretty racy. Really, really disappointing for him. But he can come back for the feature race, but will start at the back of the grid, unfortunately. But really, really disappointed for him. So Bonnie Val absolutely disappearing off into the distance. Very similar to what we saw Ben do in the qualifier at Big Willow. Phenomenal pace, absolute phenomenal pace from Bonnie Val, and I'm quite surprised actually we haven't seen the likes of Bonnie Val banging on the door of the World Tour, but each to their own. And at the moment with a 1:30.8, it's already showing the kind of crazy pace out in front. Hocker's trying to hang on to his teammate, but he's putting a bit of a gap now. That top three just being separated a little bit. 3.8 behind Bonnie Val. Endorphin hanging on in third for 1.7 second gap to Hockers. Stormfly's made his way through the order. Slipstream dropping down a little bit. Stormfly with that beautiful Porsche 911. Up to fourth place, just half a second back from Endorphin, trying to find a way into that top three in this sprint race. Right, how's it work? I hear you cry. This is how it works. 20-minute sprint race, light damage, fixed settings of weather and everything else across all three lobbies. We take the grid here, and this will set the grid. So however they finish here, it sets the grid for your feature race, which is 40 minutes, heavy damage, unpredictable weather, the whole shebang. What it also does is it sets where you sit lobby and grid for next week. So this race is key for two reasons. One, you want to set out, you want to give yourself a good starting position for the feature race, but also you want to make sure you get a nice, hot, consistent time that keeps you in lobby one, because that's where the big points are, but also gives you a good grid position for next week's race when you start on the sprint all over again. In a minute, Bonnie Val is doing just that, but that Stormfly right on the back of Endorphin in that slipstream, trying to find a way through. It's a drag racing it down to the line. Let It Rip is back in the room, but unfortunately won't partake in the rest of this race. But we'll start at the back for the feature. That is Nuke running in fifth position, getting involved in that battle with Endorphins. Lose my ability to speak at the moment. Look at this. Stormfly has got ahead of Endorphin, but he's got a battle on his hands there. And Mazda's left the room. A couple of disconnections already, and that's really, really disappointing for these guys. I don't know if there's a problem in the United States somewhere, but it's not. No, it wouldn't be, would it? Because Mazda is a Kiwi, so I don't know what the problem is there, but certainly not a problem at my end. This is the thing, right? Every time we have an update on GT7, something gets freaking broken. And it's almost as though that they don't check it beforehand. And this is what happens then. So you bring in something new, and let's face it, the weather radar looks great, but it's in the wrong freaking place. This is where it needs to be, right here where I can use it. At the beginning of the lobby, you can see what the weather's like. It's literally right there in the picture. But, yeah. So they break things all the time, PD, and it's so frustrating because it's such an awesome game and gives some awesome racing, but they just can't keep things fixed. So Stormfly still sandwiched between those two Sector 7 drivers and struggling to get up into third and stay there. Are these Sector 7 drivers going to work together to try and freeze out the black flag driver round the outside of the centre? It gets it all kinds of wrong there, and that lets Nuke through, and it's going to give Slipstream a little run on him. Slipstream making the move in that AMG GT3 up into fifth. These guys always have good battles between them, very, very similar in terms of pace. And look at TJ, who was worried about being in this lobby, thinking the pace was going to be a little bit too much for him, but he's up in the top 7 in that BMW, so clearly the pace is there in that BMW, and he's more than there on merit. Absolutely there on merit. Tech Racing just behind him, trying to find a way through. The only representative from beyond Victory Lane, of course. So they won't be competing. Well, they can compete in the team tournament, but you're not going to score many points with just one driver scoring points for you. Unless, of course, you get big points every single time. You can't handle that truth. You want him on that wall. You need him on that wall. And he right now is in that McLaren, doing an absolute sterling job back in 9th place. The Canadian driver is just behind Tech Racing, 0.8 of a second. 1.3 back to Hovercraft. You know the annoying thing as well, with Mazda leaving, I wanted to show you what was on the roof of his car, but I can't now because he's not here. So Hovercraft 2.5 seconds ahead of Newton, running in 11th. Finding he's got a bit of a gap, so he's not he's not really closing on Hovercraft at the moment, but he has a little bit of a gap to Star Group behind, so he's not really got a battle either way. He's not getting slipstream, nor is he giving it away. But there is Wiggy's up to 12th position in that BMW, just 1 second up from GMAC, running in 13th position. We've lost Let It Rip and Mazda already from this lobby. Very disappointing for those two to have lost them this early on. They will, of course, be able to participate in the feature, and obviously in order of how they got disconnected. So Mazda was lasted longer than Let It Rip, so Mazda will be in 14th and Let It Rip in 15th. If you're listening, guys, yeah. But Body Val just absolutely stonking lap times. Only once, not including that one, of course, has dipped outside that 1 minute 30, and is currently, I was going to say currently going purple, as Hovercraft actually puts in the fastest lap of the race. But 8.2 seconds clear is Bonnie Val, and that is absolutely phenomenal in this sprint. As we just passing the halfway point, 10 minutes into this race. I do need to fix the little timer there because it's cutting off the final number, isn't it? So I need to have a play with that. Hockers holding on to the two ART drivers, scoring great points here in this sprint race already. They started on the front row. They remain the front two. Nuke holding on for third and actually putting a little bit of a gap now from Slipstream and Stormfly. Good, solid performance from these new drivers to this GT Alphas. Bonnie Val, Hockers, Nuke, that's your top three. 2.7 seconds back there, Slipstream in the AMG. He's got Stormfly for company. These two still battling it out between them, but they seem to now just be pulling a little away from Endorphin, and that's Stormfly having a little look up the inside. He gives a love tap there to his teammate, but nothing doing. Nothing happened. He got through, but yeah, we'll see if that goes to a steward's inquiry. Yeah, they can fight in the car park. They can strip to the waist and fight in the car park. And I don't mean from the waist up, I mean from the waist down. Leave their t-shirts on and just take their trousers off and have a fight in the car park. Tech Racing running in 6th place. Good, solid top 6 performance from him. It's not all done yet. And actually, that battle between Stormfly and Slipstream is just... who was that into the wall? That, I was just talking about him. That was... Where's he gone? That was Tech Racing. Do you have a little look what happened? So you can see here, he comes round. Does he just lose the back end here? He does. Just gets a little bit too brave with the loud pedal and finds himself off the racetrack. And that's disappointing because he was running well in 6th position. Now down in 13th place. Because these guys are so close together, so easy to lose time. So easy. Bonnie Val now 10.9 seconds clear and just put a 130.7. I was saying how close these guys were, but Bonnie Val just seems to be in a completely different class to any other driver that exists on this planet. It is ridiculous, the pace at the moment. 11 seconds clear. Already just 12 minutes into this 20-minute sprint race. There is Nuke up to second. What happened to Hockers? Hockers is way down the order. I don't know if we're going to catch what happened to Hockers because yeah, so we'd already lost a bit of Hockers earlier on. So Hockers losing many places. You can see there 140.9 on that last lap, down to 9th place. So Nuke running now in second. That promotes Stormfly up into third. And Stormfly now starting to pull a bit of a gap on Slippy. Slippying down to 1.3 seconds. Is he going to start slipping into the clutches of Endorphin, running in 5th place? So just as the daylight is returning to us, there is Endorphin running in 5th. We've got 2 Americans in that top 5. We've got a Hungarian, we've got a Kiwi in Poland, and a British driver in Bonneville in that top 5. TJ, the man was the most worried about being in this lobby, running in 6th place. Phenomenal performance in that BMW, really finding some pace. 30.8. Which is only just outside the fastest lap, set by Stormfly at a 1:30.786. So we can see the driver, it's not just, I mean, Bonneville, incredibly consistent, 11 seconds clear, and consistently in those 1:30s or those high 1:30s. But all the drivers capable of putting in similar hot lap times. You can see there, I mean, Nuke are in those low 31s, but nice and consistent. Still 1.9 seconds clear. I don't know, I missed it. There was another crash from in 6th, and then 1 minute Hockers was there, and the next minute he wasn't. So somewhere on lap 8, and I'll have a look at the replay later and see if it's worthy of making a little montage for him. But he clearly got something very, very wrong, and dropped down the order, and that's just allowed Bonneville to disappear up way up into the distance. Right, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's go to the back of the grid there. We've lost 2 drivers to disconnections. They'll come back for that feature race. That was Madster and Let It Rip from Sector 7. Star Groot running there in 13th place. His lap times have been pretty consistent, but it looks like he must have a problem here. He's 8.2 seconds behind Tech Racing here. And you can see by the time there, it's not going to be as quick as his previous laps. There is Tech Racing after a little spin on lap 8. Same time that Hockers had his problem as well. Different incidents as well, which is why we didn't see what happened to Hockers. So Tech Racing is trying to put some pressure on GMAC in the other GTR just ahead of him, that Hello Kitty GTR. And that's the 3 GTRs actually. You got just there. That is ahead of GMAC. If he can hold on, of course, and he can't because Tech Racing makes that move up into 11th, trying to salvage something after that spin on lap 8. And he does so with a 1:30.555. The pace is just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. Newton in the other GTR, he's putting some pressure on Hockers, trying to find a way past that McLaren. The McLaren is very, very strong here. Very strong car here, but at the moment, Hockers is trying to keep Newton at bay. Newton, another one of those drivers, dropped into those the high 1:30s. Hockers as well, 31 mids pretty much all the way. Now, if can Newton find a way through? Newton has been. Oh, what happened there? That was very, very. What happened? Let's find out who it was first. We'll tag it because I don't even know who it was. Where's the driver that was spinning? I'm trying to find the car that was spinning. Let's bring it back and see if we can find it. It wasn't him. It wasn't him. I can't find the car that was spinning. Oh, there we go. There he is. That was Endorphin, just having a little bit of a wobble. Yeah, a little bit of a wobble for Endorphin. Again, just getting on the power that little bit too early. So Endorphin dropping down a few places now behind Tech Racing. Sandwich between Tech Racing and GMAC. GMAC and Stargroup trying to put some fronters on there as Hockers battling out now. He's got 2 for company. He's got Newton, he's got Tech Racing, both vying for that position there that Hockers is desperately trying to hold on to. Actually, there's 3 GTRs in there, all vying for that position. And just behind them, you've got as well, Endorphin trying to find a way through. The penalty there for GMAC, so that's going to take him out of the running for that. Out in the lead, any change? Well, yeah, if you count the fact it's now 12.3 seconds. Just put in his fastest lap of the race as Bonneville with a 5.98, but still leading by 12.5 seconds. Nuke has The gap's come down a little bit to 1.7 seconds. We've got a couple of laps remaining here. 1 minute 43 seconds. That's enough for 2 more laps here at Interlagos. But Nuke running 1.7 seconds in front of Stormfly, who's kind of cemented a place now in that top 3. Running 2.9 ahead of Slipstream. And that's a trio of Black Flag drivers there with Stormfly, Slipstream, and TJ now up into 5th place. Just goes to show how, one little mistake and all of a sudden you find yourself floating around near the business end of things, which I kind of rely on when I'm racing, because I'm not quick enough to win anything. So I kind of rely on other people fucking it up, which was quite fortunate for me today in the Manufacturers' Cup, because someone forgot to run the hard tyres. So I ended up finishing in the top 4 instead of the top 5. But that's less about me. So Slippy in 4th, TJ in 5th. The Truth, 1.1 seconds back, Canadian driver, running in 6th place for Sector 7 Racing. So in that top 6, we've got 2 Sector 7, 3 Black Flag, 1 Amigos. Another Sector 7 driver there in Hovercraft. With that half-second penalty, he's going to struggle to catch his teammate with that penalty on board, but he does have a massive gap now back to Hockers, who is still holding up this. It's a massive train. And if we do this, and we have a look at the chase cam here, I mean, that is the train of cars behind Hockers. One little slip now from Hockers, and he will find himself way, way down the order. I mean, just look at them all chasing him down. And this is their final lap. So Bonnie Val, I think, has got through. Who's not going to get through? Stormfly through. He is through for another lap. Slipstream is going to take 4th position. That's TJ coming home for 5th. The Truth comes home in 6th. Hovercraft, 7th. Hockers holds on for 8th place. Newton Tech Racing, Endorphin. That's how close they were. Literally across the line. Nothing separating them. Wiggy comes across the line in 13th. Bonnie Val up in the lead though. Top 3 getting a final lap, for an extra lap, a lap 14. So there we have it. So this essentially is going to be your grid now for the feature race, which is 40 minutes. Whole different kettle of fish in terms of strategy. The fuel is a little bit more used. Was that the word I'm looking for? A little bit more heavily used. And of course they're going to have to think about tyre strategy and all sorts of other things. Plus, of course, you've got to factor in the fact that the damage is heavy. You make a mistake, it could be Pittsville for you. And you've got the added jeopardy of random weather. No chance of rain here, of course, because it's Brazil, and apparently it doesn't rain in Brazil. But there we go. Across the line goes Bonnie Val to take the first victory of the GT Alpha's GT3 World Championship season. Nuke coming home in 2nd. The gap down to 7/10 right at the end there. So Stormfly could have done with another lap maybe. To have closed that gap and nick 2nd place. But across the line for Sector 7, that's Nuke. Stormfly home in 3rd. What a brilliant, brilliant race that was. What a great start. Excuse me. But congratulations to Bonnie Val and to Amigos Racing Team for that first victory there in the sprint. Now what I need to do is I need to take a picture of these. I'm going to do it with my phone because it's just easier. Talk amongst yourselves while I do some administration, just so I can. It helps me set the grid. So there we go. Take a screenshot of that. That is Bonnie Val from Nuke, from Stormfly, from Slipstream, TJ, The Truth, Hovercraft, Hockers, Newton, Tech Racing, Endorphin, GMAC, Wiggy, Let It Rip, and Mazda in that order. So that's the order we will put them on the grid for race number 2. Although, to be fair, Let It Rip did disconnect first, but we'll put them in that order because that's the order it set it up in. Awesomeness. Right, we're going to have a little break, 10-minute break. Let these guys just wipe the sweat from their brow. And, yeah, we'll see how we go from there. So, back soon with some more action. Let me let these guys know we're going to have a little break. And then I'll reset the lobby. In fact, we're going to do that first. Let's get the new lobby up and running for the feature race. There we go. Feature, load. Change event settings. Right. I know, it's insane, isn't it, Rob? If you look at the field, I mean, if you didn't see the lap times and you just saw the race, you'd think Bonnie Val was like super much quicker than everybody else. But actually, I think 6 or 7 different people at one stage held the fastest lap all through the field. It's insane, really, just how close it's been in terms of pace. But of course, only one can take the big prize. Right, 10-minute warning for everybody. We will be back in 10 minutes' time for them to crack on. In the meantime, we've got a tamed racing driver, and some say that his legs are made of rubber, and that Pirelli come to his house once a month just to check that there's still some tread left on him. Others say that he drinks petrol for a lunchtime snack. All we know is that he's PM10 racing. Righty ho. Pretty much we're ready to go. I think. Just checking everyone's here. Did Let It Rip made it back? Did Mazda make it back? It doesn't look like Mazda has made it back, so maybe that's a more terminal issue for Mazda than it was for Let It Rip, which is really, really disappointing. We do need Tech and Endorphin to tick in so we can get them sorted out and get them lined up into the grid. Tech Racing, of course, will start in... where will Tech Racing start? In 10th, and Endorphin will be just behind him, actually, in 11th. Let It Rip will be behind them after his disconnection. Anyway, there should be a little bit of talking about movement and stuff during overtaking. But look, if there's anything that the stewards need to look at, the stewards will be available to look at it, essentially. So Endorphin has checked in, still waiting for Tech to do so. Right, starting grid. Tech is 10th, of course. Endorphin will be 11th there. Ahead of Wiggy and GMAC, I think, yeah. Yeah, do you know what? That was a brilliant performance, TJ. Absolutely brilliant. And I think you're doing yourself an injustice, mate, because you've got the pace for these guys. You finished in 5th, mate. That's great. That's great points as well. So don't be don't. I think you surprised yourself a little bit in that BMW. But that's it. If you can drive consistently, often that makes a difference. A couple of drivers made mistakes pushing too hard, and yeah, so that's. That does cause one or two problems and makes it easier for others. Right, so just get Tech Racing slotted in ahead of Endorphin. There we go. That's your grid. No Mazda. Such a shame Mazda didn't make it back. But I think we get cracking. Shall we? Shall we get cracking with a 40-minute race? Heavy damage now. You fuck this up, you're going to fuck up your car. And we're all going to laugh at you. We're not going to laugh at you. We're going to be incredibly disappointed. So you don't want to be going in and having to make repairs. Right. Shall we have some racing? Yes, Urban Pirate, we shall have some racing. Start the race. Let's do this thing like a chicken wing. Right, so this is the feature race. The grid was set, of course, by the results of that sprint. The results of that sprint as well will be put into the pot with all of the other lobbies and give us a representative time for everyone and set the grid for next week. Display all, and we want, let's go back here, shall we? Because again, we just want to keep an eye through the first couple of corners. We don't want a red flag. We didn't have one last time. I don't think we're going to have one this time. So here we go. 5 lights. They go out. And we don't want that view. We want that view. Chase view's much better. And who gets a good start this time? Oh, a bit bogged down there. That looks like to be... that's an ART. I know that's Stormfly, isn't it? And round we go. Oh, there's a little coming together between Hovercraft and Newton there, but they do rescue everyone through safely. We're looking back. Anyone else out of action? That's Wiggy. Well off track. What happened there? Is that a technical issue? Because he's way off the track. That looks to me like there might be an issue with his wheel to be out there. Can we get a replay of what happened to him? Yeah, something's gone wrong with his wheel. That is definitely some sort of technical failure for Wiggy. Hopefully he can get that sorted out and get the car back on track. But that is, yeah, that's definitely some sort of technical failure because it's absolutely wrecked his car as well. So, Bonnie Val in the lead. As we would expect, being that Bonnie Val was on pole. How can you already be 1.9, 2 seconds clear? We're not even halfway around the lap, man. Seriously, Rob, what do you guys do to slow this fucker down? How do you stop Bonnie Val winning everything? It's insane. 2.1 seconds clear as he comes round Junção to complete lap 1 in this 40-minute feature. Stormfly up to second. That is a brilliant brilliant, brilliant start. And he's changed his livery. Why has he changed his livery? Was there now? Here's the question. This livery has been approved. Oh, let it rip! Again, let it rip! Disconnecting from the room. What is going on, PD, with these freaking lobbies, man? Sort yourselves out, but let it rip struggling with his connection today. Why has Stormfly running a different livery for this race than he was in the previous one? Who knows? There is Slippy running in. You give him tyre wear. You should take his tyres away and make him just run on rims. Yeah, wheel gone nuts. I thought that was the case. I saw you disappearing off into the wall. I'm inclined to stick my G29, you know. I do want to talk about. I'll talk about that a bit later when we're settled into the middle portion of the race. Because I've decided not to buy a Fanatec, and I'll tell you why in a little while. Right, so Slipstream running in third. Better start from Stormfly and Slippy in this feature race. TJ running in fourth place, up from fifth. There's Nuke running in fifth. The Truth. Can you handle the Truth? You want him on the wall? You need him on that wall. It's the Truth Serum running in sixth, ahead of Newdson. Kenneth there in that GTR, ahead of Tech Racing. They've already had words in chat. We don't like having words in chat. If something needs sorting, let the stewards sort it out. While you two if you want to have a penis measuring contest, do so with the correct rulers in a private room, please. Hovercraft in ninth place with Hockers back in 10th. Hockers was running well out in front in that sprint race, but had a little bit of a problem, and that sort of set him back on the grid here, so he's got some work to do as Hockers to get up through that order. We will find out how all the other drivers got on in all the other lobbies. I will rebroadcast Lobby 2 and Lobby 3 tomorrow. Do that tomorrow afternoon. What I can tell you as well is that I have been talking to another commentator well known to anyone that likes World Championship Racing. And we very well may have a Lobby 2 commentator doing a few races for us in the coming weeks. It will be announced once we have some dates to give you, of course. GMAC running in 11th. Endorphin running in 12th. Wiggy in 13th, having severe wheel problems. He's back on lap 2, lap 3 for everybody else. So Wiggy really struggling with his I'm assuming he's gone back to his Fanatec, because he did for a while go from his Fanatec to his G29 due to issues, and I'm assuming he's having problems again because he's back on the Fanatec. So yeah, I wonder what's caused that. So, but there is Bonnie Val disappearing off into the distance. It's almost like Bonnie Val is doing a different racetrack to everyone else, because I think the key is this: is that we see that Bonnie Val does put in fastest laps, but usually you see the fastest laps are going to people further down. But what Bonnie Val seems to do very, very well is consistency. So every lap that's a very similar time to the last, and just churning that repetition in lap after lap after lap, which just allows the gap to open up. Is Stormfly going to allow that to happen? I can't imagine Stormfly is going to want to see Bonnie Val disappearing too much further into the distance. At the moment, this is the view. There is enough for Stormfly to see there of Bonnie Val to make it interesting at the moment. But already the gap's starting to open out between these top three, much as it did in that sprint race. So we've got Bonnie Val running in the lead, Stormfly in second. There is Slipstream in that AMG GT3, one of the most beautiful GT3 cars, certainly on this game, without question. Running in third position. TJ in a dizzy heights of fourth. Very surprised he hasn't got a nosebleed, but I can guarantee you he's getting very, very excited. Running there in fourth position. Nuke is running there in fifth, just 7 tenths behind TJ. So there is potential with the Slipstream for these cars to close up on each other. It's quite a battle there, actually. You've got the gap between Bonnie Val, Stormfly, Slippy, but then if you look at this, they're all very, very closely knit together. That's quite a quite a train there starting to form behind Slipstream in third. It's Slipstream, TJ Nuke, The Truth, and then there is Kenneth Newton. Hello, Bobby Pat. Why are you joining? Bobby Pat, you're BCGT, aren't you? But you're welcome to watch. But there is no room in the inn, as they say. Newton is running in 7th, the gap to Hovercraft, who is back there. There is Hovercraft with a little train of his own forming behind. But Newton's at the back of that particular train. That is the battle for third currently raging on. Any mistake in there and you will see some big changes. But at the moment, Slippy's still holding on. We go back to Tech Racing. At the moment, he's got... who's that with him? That's Hovercraft with him. That's Hockers with him as well. And a 1 second penalty for Tech Racing. And the penalty here is brutal. Absolutely brutal. It costs something like 4 to 5 seconds. In fact, we'll tell you exactly what it is. So we'll see here when Tech Racing goes through this penalty line. He's currently half a second up from Hovercraft. Goes through that penalty line. Hovercraft goes through. We'll see Hockers go through. We'll see GMAC go through. We will indeed. And you can see there just how much time he's lost. We'll look when he gets into the braking zone. We'll have another look at how much time was lost. So into the braking zone they go. 6 tenths behind GMAC. Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, it is ridiculous. It's what, 4 seconds. 4 seconds that 1 second penalty has cost Tech Racing. Big gap to Endorphin. It looks like Endorphin had a terrible lap too. But things are going much worse at the moment for Wiggy. He seems to have got his wheel up and running now. But lap 1, 2 and 3, huge technical issues. And it's already, he's almost a lap down. Or, well, in fact, he's a lap down because there's Bonnie Val. Who's that way? Who's that there? That's Endorphin. So Endorphin's actually... Yeah, so he is actually already a lap down on everybody else. The only driver that hasn't been able to lap him has been Endorphin. So, yeah, it all goes horribly wrong for Wiggy. But he's still in there. And that's the thing. He's still there. He will score points in 13th place. And luckily, it wasn't the sprint race. So it's not going to affect his lobby and grid position next week. But it will affect his points today. So there's the thing. So that's the big kicker as well for Mazda and for Let It Rip. Is being disconnected from the lobby means they don't set a time for next week. And... yeah, I suppose we could have a look back through the footage and find an average lap time for them, but they didn't complete the race. So that puts them, I think, in lobby 3, I'm afraid. We will see how we work that out. So Bonnie Val, not pulling away like he was in the sprint, but that's because now the tyres come into play. There is a bit more wear on the fuel, there's wear on the tyres. You have to start thinking about fuel management. You have to definitely start considering tyre management as well. Everyone at the moment running, as you can see, on those soft compound tyres. No one's opting for anything that lasts a bit longer. And I think in terms of time, and you can see there, varying tyre wears. Actually, the best tyre wear is for Wiggy, but that might be because he hasn't been able to go very fast until recently. But Bonnie Val really churning through those tyres. So, as TJ up into third, what happened to Slipstream? So Slipstream's actually dropped down the order there. So TJ up into third, Nuke up into fourth, The Truth up into fifth, and Slippy now dropping down towards the back of the train that he was at the head of. He's now in sixth. He's got Newton there behind him. So that train is still running as it was. There it is. But it's all changed with TJ now leading the way. Is The Truth or the Nuke going to be able to make a move? That is Nuke round the outside into the centre S. He's going to have the inside line here, but if you don't have the inside line through the first part, very difficult to hold it around the outside. Has to slot in just behind TJ. TJ holding on in that top three, and there is a little bit of lag on TJ's car there at the moment. But look, here's the thing. Is I don't often experience lag issues We had some a while back with other drivers and stuff, but for the most part, I don't experience much lag in lobbies. Unless there's been an update. And without fail, absolutely without fail. No, do you know what? I'm going to have a little fucking moan about this. Absolutely without fail, whenever there's an update, the next couple of broadcasts I do, there are issues with people connecting to the lobby. There are issues with people disconnecting from the lobby. As you see Nuke making that move on TJ. There are issues with lag. Now, I'm not being funny. I mean, PD and Sony are massive game companies. We're not talking about some indie designer who's put a game together in their bedroom. We're talking about armies of fucking coders and testers and developers and artists and all that kind of thing. You would have thought that among that staff you would have somebody who would ensure that when you bring something new in, that it hasn't broken something else. Surely. There's been issues today with not just here, but with the Manufacturers' Cup, for instance. Manufacturers' Cup race earlier on today. Loading took 5 minutes. There was just random 5 minutes of wait time to get on to start qualifying. I think it's between qualifying and actually to get into qualifying. Then a massive loading time from qualifying to race, and 6 drivers were disconnected during that process. So you have to question the stupidity of it. Anyway, moving swiftly on. That gap, Body Valve's gap, is down to under 2 seconds. Not having the same kind of purple patch that Body Valve... I don't know. I want to call Body Valve a she, but I know Ben is not a she. But I think he's actually his missus' PlayStation account, which is why it's Bonnie Val. My body lies over the ocean. Oh, bring back my body to me. 1.6 seconds, but we'll have to start managing tyres at this stage. Just under half a tank of fuel. 13 minutes into this 40-minute World Cup sprint or World Championship sprint race. So Stormfly, who has flicked his livery over to... they are both, as far as I'm aware, they're both approved liveries. So you can absolutely do that. I don't know why he would choose to change the... that beautiful livery was running before, but maybe there was a livery violation, or I don't know, maybe something on the car just didn't feel right with the colours or something, and it was affecting his view. Who knows? Nuke running in 3rd place, comfortably running in 3rd. I do like that Sector 7 livery. Actually, I do like that car as well. It's not a shabby looking car, that Genesis. It's all right. Lovely shot there of the livery there, and the of course logos on the side. Swarm 6, who are touring. They've got 3 dates. Kings Lynn and a couple of other places in the UK. I can't remember. They're not in bloody London now, are they? Of course not. Last time I saw them, they were in London. It's been a while. But they're all over the place at the moment, are the boys. And of course the Proper Blokes Club, which you can see they're just under the Sector 7 Racing logo. BMW of TJ. Let's give this man some love. He's up in that. He got into the top 5 after or during the sprint race. Running still in that top 5, running in 4th place, 1.1. We have to actually just under a second behind Nuke. So getting some good power out of that BMW. But as you can see here, tyres are starting to be a factor. This is when you start to think about pit stop strategy. Now, ideal, of course, if you're running those soft tyres and you know you've got a pit, you're going to want it to be at that kind of halfway point, 20 minutes into the race. But you just, if you can't make them last, you can't make them last. It is what it is. But, yeah, if you can hold on for another 5 minutes, get to the halfway point, you can run a single stop on the softs. There's the truth. We know the truth, and Mazda, who unfortunately got disconnected. Oh, look at that battle going on there. That's a 3-way battle between Slipstream and Knudsen, and that is Tech Racing as well, isn't it? Oh no, the truth. Sorry, the truth, Slipstream, and Knudsen all battling it out there for a place in the top 5. Slippy holding on, but these 2 drivers, the truth and Knudsen, absolutely not giving it up by any stretch. And just back there's Tech Racing lurking just behind, waiting for an opening to come. And well, when they're battling this hard and battling this close, there's always that opportunity for that to happen. And it's GTR again. These two battling out. I imagine we're going to see some great battles between some of these drivers. You can already see some on-track rivalries forming. Some between teammates, some between opposing teams. It's going to be some really, really tasty stuff this season, I think. But we've got to find somebody that can stop Bonnie Val. Can anybody find a way to stop Bonnie Val? Does Bonnie Val have a weakness track-wise? And that going very, very, very wide up ahead is Slipstream losing position there. And that is down to 6th. But into the pits he goes. So part of the strategy may be a little bit early to be pitting, to be fair. But maybe looking for some sort of undercut, maybe. Just maybe. The gap out in front now, 1.3 seconds for Bonnie Val. Again, tyres consideration. It is kind of on that cusp, isn't it, with these soft tyres for some of these drivers, as to whether they can make it work. And I have just noticed, I wonder if Stormfly is running that livery because it is very similar, although it's black and yellow rather than blue and yellow. Because it's very similar to the ART livery ahead. Is it a kind of trick of the mind? So when Bonnie Val looks in his mirror, he thinks, oh, that's Hocker's behind me there. If he comes through, I'll let him through. He's my teammate, he's my buddy, he's my pal. And then Stormfly says, oh, wrong buckhole! It's me, Stormfly, it's my disguise. Or maybe he just prefers that livery to the other one. Who knows? There we go, Sector 7 Nuke. 8.3 seconds. Holding on in third, though, nicely. TJ 1.8 seconds behind. No real pressure on that top three at the moment. Let's bring up tyre and fuel data because we're going to start to see people whipping into the pits. Bonnie Val stays out. Stormfly stays out. Nuke stays out at the moment. TJ, is he going to flick into the pits? He is coming in. So a few cars coming in a little bit earlier than you would expect. I was thinking sort of 21, 22 minutes we'd start to see them jumping in. TJ in, Tech Racing in, Hovercraft in. That's Newton up to 5th. Hockers stays out. That's Hockers up to 6th. And actually Hockers doing a really good job of looking after those tyres. The Truth as well is very, very good at looking after them. As is Mazda, who I remarked actually that if his tyres were condoms, someone's getting pregnant. And it's a bit of a shame that we lost him early on because he had it on the top of his car. So, running in the top 6, Bonnie Val, Stormfly, Nuke, The Truth, Newton and Hockers. And they are yet to pit. GMAC is in. Loves a pit stop, does GMAC. Slippy's been in. He's back out now. There is TJ. He's just coming out. Does he come out ahead of everybody else? Now, Slipstream. Slipstream, so he was out before, wasn't he? And then coming round. So, right up behind TJ as TJ comes out of the pits. He's up to speed though. Is TJ going to be able to get and stay ahead? He does stay ahead, but bear in mind that behind him Slipstream has much warmer tyres, having already had a lap around. So Tech Racing's been in, Hovercraft has been in, GMAC has been in, Endorphin has been in, Wiggy yet to pit, had significant wheel problems in the first 3 laps. Which he has now solved, and some incredible consistency actually since the technical issues have been solved. 31.7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 31.7s or 4 31.7s in there. 31.4, 31.9, 32.2. That's incredible consistency back there, and he's actually closed the gap on Endorphin to just 1.7 seconds. Of course, we know that he's still going to have to pit at some stage, but bear in mind that he was an entire lap behind the whole field. That's a phenomenal recovery from Wiggy. Is there time? Here's the thing. Has he got the pace? Is there time? Looking at Endorphin's times, he's capable of low 32. You can see there he's done a low 32. Bonnie Val's still with the fastest lap of the race. Not the fastest lap of the day, mind, but the fastest lap of the race so far. Can Wiggy keep up that kind of pace on a regular basis and close that gap more? That's Newton into the pit, or out he comes now. He's coming out in 10th. He's actually lost the place to Tech Racing through that pit cycle. So out in front, the top 4, need to pit still. The Truth, he's pitting. He's come back out in 7th position. So Bonneville in. That's bang on the 21-minute mark. They've made it. There's Stormfly in. Hockers still not coming, but still the tyres looking pretty good. Doesn't need to come in yet. He's going to want to run as long as possible because while the car's nice and light, it's nice and quick. But it looks like actually he's pulling the trigger now, and in comes Hockers. So the front three all looking like ART cars. There is Nuke. Nuke has also pit. Nuke currently in 4th. Now, where does Nuke slot in terms of those front three? The front three are in the pits now. Stormfly, Bonneville and Hockers. Any of them out yet? Here comes Stormfly. Here comes Bonneville. Hockers still on the jacks. Where's Nuke? Nuke is coming through now. I don't think Nuke is going to get into this top 3, or is he? Where's Hockers? Hockers still on the jacks. It looks like Nuke is going to get through. Not going to get the jump though on Bonneville and Stormfly. But look how close Bonneville and Stormfly come out the pits on top of each other. Absolutely on top of each other. Has one or the other... Look, I mean, if you look there at the fuel as well, they have absolutely measured that fuel to the exact litre identically and come out the pits. That is a sign of brilliance. Absolute brilliance. So, game on, baby. Game on. We did not see Bonneville pulling away anywhere near like he did in the sprint. And now he's got to try and do it with Stormfly all over his tail for the last, essentially, what are we looking at? 13 or 14 laps of this race. Lap 15, we are 23 minutes in to this first feature race of the GT3 World Championship for GT Alphas. We've had the sprint already. That was won convincingly by Bonneville. At the moment, Bonneville's still holding on in the lead, but it's not quite as comfortable as they would like it to be. Nuke holding on in that top 3, flying the flag for Sector 7 there out in the podium places. That was the word I was looking for. Podium places. Unfortunately for Sector 7, 2 of their drivers have suffered disconnection issues. Let It Rip disconnected from the sprint and again from the feature, and Mazda disconnected from the sprint and didn't come back. So I think that issue was a terminal one. In terms of other technical issues, this man right here, Wiggy, lap 1 and 2 were particularly bad. Lap 3 wasn't much better when he was having wheel problems. Terrible wheel problems. Wheel problems that actually saw him in the Center S from the start, just go straight on and into the wall, giving him engine damage. So it's not been kind to him thus far, but that seems to be solved now, and he's chucking in some very respectable lap times, but still significant work to do to catch up to Endorphin. But also he's still got to go into the pits. So he has closed the gap on Endorphin to 1.7 seconds, but he's the only driver not to have pits at this stage. Is he going to try and brave this to the end? There's no way he can. It can't be done. It cannot be done. They said it cannot be done, and they were right. Do you know what? It's not actually that warm today. It's quite cold out there, but I'm going to put my fan on because this shit is getting spicy. Let's have a little look through the midfield. What's going on in the midfield? We've got some good battles going on there. Look at this. This is the battle for 4th place, because up there we've got Slippy running there in 4th. In 5th, just behind him, that's TJ, just 1 second back as they head into the Center S for lap 17. And the Truth there in 6th. Newton dropping off a little bit. Him and Tech Racing have still got their little GTR battle going on. These two have got a nice little ding-dong between them. It's Newton from Black Flag. It's the BVL driver, Beyond Victory Lane driver, Tech Racing. And he's got a really good slipstream here. But you can see Newton holding that inside line, not giving anything. The thing is as well, that when you're defending this hard, you're not able to really close down on the car ahead because you're so focused on keeping a car behind you. And it can actually be much slower. And what this is going to do, this is going to bring hovercraft into play. The Sector 7 driver right there from the United States can see the Australian Tech Racing and the Dane Newton up ahead, and they're duking it out. And this is just playing into Hovercraft's hands. Hovercraft is just waiting for the slightest little error. He's hoping, did these two make a mistake and let me through? Are they going to be so concentrating on each other that they're not going to see me slip one up the inside? Fanar. We'll see now, because into Junção they go. If he gets a good exit from here and a good slipstream, he could take the pair of these GTRs on this long run down to the Centre S when they complete lap 17 here. If you're just joining us, where the bloody hell have you been? This is the GT Alpha's GT3 World Championship. Round number 1. We are at Interlagos in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in Lobby 1, with some of the fastest drivers GT7 has to offer. Bonival currently leading the way, but we are watching the battle currently for 7th. Newton of Black Flag running in 7th, just ahead of Hovercraft, who we're watching with now, is Tech Racing of the Beyond Victory Lane team in 8th position from Australia, mate. Tyler, I'm really sorry, man, if you can hear me. That's awful, I know, but I could do it. Should I do impressions of everybody? Maybe not. Let's not do that. We'll keep an eye on this battle. We'll have a look at it's a TJ down into 5th. Was in the dizzy heights of 4th at one stage. Slippy just holding on at the moment. So TJ, the Truth, have got a little battle going on between themselves. The Truth really tucked up behind him at the moment. Is he going to be able to find a way through? We can see there. Look at this. Let's get rid of tyres and fuel now. No one cares about that shit anymore. Right, here we go. Chasing down the BMW of TJ, who is holding firm in that top 5. And I think he's surprising everybody. He's certainly surprising himself. But, no, absolutely mixed it with the big boys. And, yeah, sometimes just racing with the big boys does spur you on. But look how strong this slipstream is. The Truth revving the absolute nuts out of the car. Dives up the inside, has a little looky see. He's made that move up the inside. Can he hold on? TJ round the outside, holding on. Little rubbing is racing from them two. And there was a little touch from the Truth on the way in. A little touch from TJ on the way out. Ooh, touchy. But TJ survives. Maybe the stewards will want to look at that. Maybe they won't want to look at that. I don't know. To be fair, for me, I think that was a bit of a 50-50 kind of thing. So let's, I would say the less said about that, the better. But good racing from these drivers. So goddamn close. Talking to goddamn close, Bonival cannot shake the 911 off Stormfly, crawling all over the back. Stole the livery. Oh my days, that's another disconnection. We've lost Tech Racing. What a devastating blow for Tech Racing to leave when he did. So many issues. And I've got to say, sort it the fuck out, PD. Update fucking week. So here's my word to anybody out there. If you're going to run a series, don't do it on fucking update week, because they're idiots. And they break shit when they make an update. Right, let's move a little rant over. Body Val Stormfly batting out. We'll stay with this battle. I did promise you I was going to tell you why I wasn't going to buy Fanatec. So, a couple of weeks ago I had an issue with my G29 and the power supply issue, and it sorted out, and I had to go and get a spare one. And there was conversations with the missus about what would I want for Christmas, and I said, Father Christmas, can you please give me a Fanatec? And I sort of told Mrs. what I wanted, and we kind of thought, I say we agreed. She told me I was allowed to have a Fanatec and we would sort it out and But I've given it some thought. Now, I don't race very much anyway. I do a bit of manufacturer's cup, I do some dailies, I jump in the occasional practice race and stuff. But for the most part, I don't actually race that much, right? And when I do, I'm pretty fucking slow. Now, herein lies the problem, is that would I be quicker if I got a Fanatec? There is that possibility I might get a little bit quicker. But I'm not going to get finishing 10th to finishing 1st quicker, for one. For two, I've seen over the sort of weeks and months, the issues that people seem to have with the Fanatec's, with them going on brain fart mode, like we've just seen it happen to Wiggy there, we've seen it happen to Jay, we've seen it happen to TJ, we've seen so many issues with Fanatec's when they need to replace parts and things keep brain farting and messing around and disconnecting and all kinds of things. And I'm thinking to myself, do I want to spend the better part of £1,000 by the time you factored in shipping and customs and all that kind of palaver for a wheel that I'm not going to use that much, is not going to make me significantly faster, and will probably break down more often than my G29 has? And bear in mind, I've had my G29 2 years, it broke down twice. Once was easily fixable, the other one was terminal. And I'm quite happy with my G29. So I've decided I'm going to stick with the G29 for the time being. If it craps out at a later date, I might upgrade to something more mid-range. But I might invest instead in VR2. And I think I'll probably get more use out of VR2 than I would out of a Fanatec. So that's why I'm not going to get Fanatec. Now, I'm not suggesting don't get Fanatec, because they are brilliant. So I'm reliably informed. But it's just, for me, it doesn't feel like the right purchase. And I think that's important. If you're going to be buying wheels and pedals and stuff like that, I think you have to buy it, not what people tell you should have. So, you look on social media and all these people say, yeah, buy this because it's brilliant. You've got to get this one, it's the best, and da-da-da-da. You've got to get what's right for you. One, it's got to be in budget. If you've got very little disposable income, you shouldn't be chucking £1,000 away, or €1,000 or whatever it is, on a Fanatec. All right. Also, if you're mixing it with the big boys, like the body valves, like the Stormflies, like the Nukes, you've got that kind of pace, then you want to have the better equipment, because it's going to give you that extra couple of tenths here and there that's going to make the difference. If, like me, you're floating around at the back, it's the difference between finishing 15th and 13th. It really doesn't fucking matter. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. But I'm not suggesting that nobody else should get a Fanatec. Just that's the reason that I've decided not to get one. Look, don't get me wrong. If I suddenly find some pace from somewhere, which is unlikely, then I might. That decision may be something I'll revisit later. Anyway, moving swiftly on. The wafflings at Acton Towers. Body valve still leads the way. 1.3 seconds, just edging a little bit of breathing room between Body valve and Stormfly now. Just to give that little bit of a breather and take that bit of pressure off. Is Body valve going to lead this race from beginning to end? Certainly looking that way at the moment. But we have seen things go wrong. We saw it in a practice race. We saw that Body valve dominated a practice race, was miles ahead and got it wrong on the last lap and lost out to Osman. And if any of you are wondering why really quick drivers like Osman and Kazan are not in Lobby 1, it's because they couldn't qualify. They are classed as pro drivers. They have classified themselves as pros, but because they didn't set a time in qualifying last week, Osman because he was working, although to be fair, we should have given him pole position because he put us up on a big screen in a pub, but we didn't. Osman was working, and unfortunately Tyler had the flu, so they didn't set a qualifying time, so they actually started at the back of Lobby 2, and we'll find out how they got on tomorrow. Well, I'll find out later, but you lot will find out tomorrow. Nuke running in third. Really solid drive from Nuke there in third. Not really had much to do in terms of attack or defence. Has just had to worry about putting in those consistent laps, and been looking after the tyres well, looking after the fuel well. At the moment, no real challenge on those front two, 4 seconds back from the front two. But Slipstream, who's settled nicely now into fourth, not closing that 9-second gap, and I don't think there's enough time left. Just 5 minutes remain of this 40-minute feature race here in the GT3 World Championship, and it is Slipstream running in fourth place. He's got the Truth up into fifth. The Truth started to show some pace. Half-second penalty there, though. Will that allow TJ to close the gap enough to make a challenge into the Senna S? Not quite sure. With that 2-second gap, it's quite enough. The 1 second penalty is quite brutal. The half-second penalty, while it is brutal, it's less than half as brutal, because although you technically say, well, it's half the amount of time, but you lose a lot less time because you lose a lot less pace. You can kind of mostly keep the momentum up. But we'll see that penalty being served right about now, Funk Soul Brother. See, it's minimal, really minimal. You'll see TJ closing, but he won't close enough to be able to make a move into the centre S. That's the end of lap 24 for these guys. Sorry, the end of lap 23. On to lap 24. There are 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining here in this GT Alphas GT3 World Championship. It's Body Valve from Stormfly, from Nuke, from Slipstream. You Can't Handle the Truth is in 5th. TJ is in 6th. And there's a little train going on. TJ is the engine, and there are his carriages. It's Newton and Hovercraft. There's 3 of them, so it's human centipede-like. But I've got to show you something. Look at the state of that. Hovercraft's rear right-hand tyre is absolutely fooked. So Hovercraft is going to struggle a little bit with keeping that car on the road. We say that as he's trying. Oh, it looked like he made a little move up the inside of Newton there, but it looked to me like he gave Newton a little nudge. But he has given the position back, so nothing doing for that at all. Don't need to worry about that. He gave that position back, gave it back fairly, and stayed in the race as well, which is good. Good to see. But yeah, he's going to struggle with those tyres. He's going to be able to keep up with that battle. TJ ahead of Newton by 1 second. He wants to try and stay out the slipstream if he can. GTR with a bit of slipstream is a beast. It's a beast. The Hello Kitty GTR driven by GMAC, and look at the state of that. I think we'll leave those tyre and fuel. You can just see just how bad some of these tyres are as we come into the final knockings of this race. Are we going to see some spills before the end of this? 42 seconds back to Hockers. He had a couple of bad laps there, lap 21-22, struggled a little bit. Endorphin, he's getting blue flagged. Who's that coming up behind that? Is that Bonnie Val? My Bonnie lies over the ocean. He's on lap 24. Wiggy is on lap 23. He had significant wheel issues early on, and it's he pit on lap 20, but it was terminal enough that it was never going to be an easy ride to get back into this race. But kind of gifted by some disconnections. Tech Racing being one of the, in fact, all big names. Let It Rip and Madster and Tech Racing are all drivers very capable of winning races, all disconnecting from this feature race. And actually, we lost we lost Mazda from the sprint, never made it to the feature, and Let It Rip disconnected from both. Disappointing for those guys. So nil point for them mofos. Right, Body Val. 1.5 seconds is the lead. Tyres looking absolutely fine. They'll make it quite comfortably to the end of this race. Similarly for the 911 of Stormfly, who's painted himself to look a little bit like an Amigos in the hope of fooling Body Val into slowing down. Hasn't really worked, has it? Nuke. I was going to say Nuke's under a bit of pressure, but he's not, of course, because that is him lapping his teammate back there. Running very well in 3rd is the US driver. Look at the nationalities. This is what a World Cup looks like. Look, we've got a Brit, we've got a Hungarian in the Netherlands, we've got Nuke, the American, we've got Canadian, we've got a Kiwi in Poland, we've got Danish, we've got Dutch. Look at that, top 7, all different nationalities. That's what a World Championship looks like, America. It's not a World Series if there's only one country in it. The Truth. Up into 4th. Always going to be there or thereabouts. Very, very solid. Very, very dependable driver. Fuel a little bit ropey, but there's not long left now to the end of this race. So, Body Val around I can't even speak. Junkao for the final time. Lap 26. Rounds that final corner. Onto the power. Heading to the line. The gap is closing, but not enough. It will be 1-2. 2 races back to back for Body Val and ART. Stormfly coming home in 2nd. That's a good solid 2nd place there. Nuke for Sector 7 coming home in 3rd. Can you handle the truth? You can. That's another Sector 7 driver there coming home in 4th. Tell you what, Sector 7 already looking good for this team championship. Slipstream home in 5th position ahead of Newton, also of Black Flag, and TJ holds on for 7th. Hovercraft coming through in 8th. GMAC 6 seconds back, comes home in 9th. Hockers on that lead lap for ART will come home in 10th. with Endorphin finishing in 11th, Wiggy finishing in 12th, and with 2 DNFs from this feature race, Let It Rip and Tech Racing. Of course, we lost Mazda very early on in the sprint. Yeah, I wouldn't be too frustrated, Aaron. It was a good race from you. And you really closed that gap at the end there. And I mean, coming out of the pits just behind him as well. He's quick, man. He's quick. Bolivar is quick, and you're gonna have to find some pace from somewhere. But no, good racing all round. It's been awesome. Are we done already? Should have made these races longer, shouldn't we? Should have made them 5 hours long. Make the mother sweat. Right, there we go. It's 2 from 2 for Bolivar. It is the perfect weekend for the ART driver. Bolivar absolutely smashed it. I'm going to stop talking like nasty about him now. I know he's watching. Bolivar was shit. Nobody cares. I'm only joking. No, that was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fan-bloody-tastic. Brilliant racing all round. The classified results are as follows. Bolivar in that Mercedes AMG GT3 takes the win and the fastest lap. Stormfly in the 911 closed that gap right at the end there too, under 9/10 of a second in the 911, but alas, couldn't take the top step of the podium. Sector 7's Nuke in that Genesis X, which is a much better car than I thought it was, in all honesty. In third place. The Truth in fourth in the 650S. You're going to have to bear with me because someone's at my door. Someone's getting the door for me. Right. Yes, so there we go. The Truth in the 650S comes home in fourth. Slipstream home in fifth position in that Mercedes AMG GT3. Newton in the GTR Nismo is home in sixth. TJ in the M6 seventh. Hovercraft was 8th in the Huracan. GMAC 9th in the GTR, 10th for Hockers in 650S, and also 650S was Endorphin in the American driver in 11th, 1 lap down. Wiggy finishes the race 2 laps down in the M6. Technical problems galore for him early on made it hard, and Let It Rip and Tech Racing did not make it. Deliveroo says thingamajig. It was great racing, absolutely great. Right, anyway, shall we see if we can find some drivers to talk to? Let's have a little looky see. Right, give me a sec and we'll see if we can find some drivers to talk to. Back shortly. There's no drivers in the interview channel. Maybe it's not working properly, I don't know. Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Anyway, all I've got to say is thank you very much for joining us. It's been absolutely awesome. Yeah, I had my little rant about PD. That's done and dusted. Yeah, but the racing's been close, very close. Really looking forward to next week. Next week we are off to Bathurst for a little jaunt through the mountain. That's bound to see some action. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll do the rebroadcast of Lobby 2 and Lobby 3, and we'll see how those guys got on. Be interesting to see who from Lobby 2 and 3 has been quick enough to get themselves up into Lobby 1 for next week, and who, well, we know we could potentially lose certainly the 2 drivers we lost from the sprint race, that being Mazda and Let It Rip, who couldn't finish the sprint due to disconnection issues. So we'll find out soon. But thank you very much for joining me. It's been absolutely awesome. I've been Open Pirate. This has been the GT Alphas GT3 World Championship. It's been emotional.
It's Friday night and the drinks are